You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the political headlines of the past week. The latest update on Lubbock's Outer Loop project comes from Councilman Steve Massengale, who tweeted, "Construction expected to begin by the end of the year. Phase 1 is Avenue U to Chicago. In total, the new Loop 88 will stretch 16 miles from Highway 84 to 6282 and from Highway 87 to over 80 to 84, which is another 9 miles. How about this? The Lubbock School Board is setting the tax rate for this coming year and worked hard to shave 2 cents off that tax bill, but Board President Zach Brady and others not happy with the fact that even though they worked to lower the rate, the property valuations will still make your school taxes go some 5% higher. And to make matters worse, the state didn't add funding they could have used to make up the difference from the board's tax cut.
The increase in said yield will be offset by less funding from the state under a formula adopted by the same legislature. And the state portion of the education funding assumes that we will tax the district at the rate formulated by the legislature, the maximum compressed rate. Do I have such a motion?
I don't know what you said, but I move to
Thank you for the clarification.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimously is more than 2/3. I feel that's important to point out to a legislature that thinks that $1.15 to $1.13 constitutes an increase.
Well, we heard from Lubbock Sheriff Kelly Rowe about the county tax increase proposal you'll vote on in November. That will be used to pay for salary increases for deputies and staff. The 2-cent increase equals about 64 additional tax dollars per year for the average household, so they can raise a starting deputy's salary by about $8,000. Sheriff Rowe says they're losing qualified deputies to other areas because their current pay scale is too low.
People truly do hold their public safety personnel, the men and women doing the tough and dangerous work every day, in real high regard. And I think when it gets down to it and they're in the ballot box, they're going to look awfully hard at that and know that this is a group of men and women we really need to take good care of.
Sheriff Rowe hosting Senator Ted Cruz this week for a roundtable about gang and drug problems in the area. Their numbers show a 95% increase in gang members over a 3-year period, and lots of pathways through here used by drug smugglers as well. I want to play you a portion of a news conference in Lubbock by Senator Cruz talking about how the migrant problem at the border plays into this and about Afghan refugees settling throughout Texas after the events in Afghanistan this week.
I just finished doing a roundtable with law enforcement here in West Texas. One of the questions that was raised focused very directly on those Afghan refugees. And the question that I was asked was, to what extent have refugees coming to America, coming to Texas, been vetted for whether they are a serious security threat? And unfortunately, I was forced to tell the law enforcement in the room next to us that I have no confidence that the Biden administration is thoroughly vetting any of these refugees. Here's what needs to happen. The Americans need to be immediately evacuated. And the Afghans who assisted the military need to be immediately transported to a safe and secure third country. A country out of reach of the Taliban where they will not face murder as a reprisal. But no refugees should be coming from Afghanistan to the United States unless and until they have been thoroughly vetted for whether or not they pose a security risk. And if the Biden administration is simply putting thousands of Afghans on planes and flying them to Texas, flying them to America without vetting them, they are risking the kind of suicide attack we saw today in Afghanistan. They're risking attacks like that tomorrow in the United States. That is a risk that makes no sense. And no refugee should come from Afghanistan without a full and thorough vetting. We can get them out of harm's way, but it doesn't mean we need to bring them into America until we know that can be done safely.
And shifting a little bit more to what we talked about today, you heard a presentation from local law enforcement on narcotics, gangs, firearms. I mean, a lot of that conversation kind of shifted to the border. You said it's the worst you've ever seen it. Will you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, sure. We have, in addition to the catastrophe playing out in Afghanistan, We have another catastrophe playing out at our southern border right here in Texas. I've been down to the border countless times in the past decade. I've never seen it remotely as bad. Over 1 million illegal immigrants have come into this country in the last 7 months under Joe Biden. We are on pace for more than 2 million illegal immigrants to come in this year. It is the highest rate of illegal immigration in 21 years. And it is a direct result of decisions from the Biden administration, political decisions. This administration refuses to enforce the law. They refuse to deport the illegal immigrants who have come. They put out the word that if you come to America, you can stay. And it has produced this extraordinary influx. There were 3 decisions Joe Biden made the first week in office. He immediately halted construction of the border wall. He reinstated the failed policy of catch and release. And most indefensibly, he abandoned the very successful Remain in Mexico agreement with the government of Mexico. The Remain in Mexico agreement had resulted in just last year the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. It was working, it was successful, and Biden ripped it to shreds. And as we met with law enforcement here, law enforcement across West Texas, they're seeing the consequences of that. When you have over 1 million illegal immigrants, those illegal immigrants don't all remain in the Rio Grande Valley. But they travel throughout Texas, they travel throughout the country, and one of the consequences also is Border Patrol is overwhelmed. And as Border Patrol is ordered by their political superiors not to do their jobs, it means the narcotics traffickers have open season on the borders. And so the sheriffs here in Lubbock and across West Texas are dealing with narcotics flooding in, poisoning Texans and Americans, because this administration refuses to enforce the law. What is happening at our southern border is a humanitarian crisis, it's a public health crisis, and it's a national security crisis. I'm headed back to the border next week. I will once again meet with the Border Patrol agents, as I do pretty much every time I go down to the border. I'll meet with law enforcement down there. But what is maddening is as this crisis has gotten worse and worse and worse, Joe Biden has no plan to fix it. He plans to continue the same failed policies that have produced this crisis. And that's jeopardizing all of Texas and all of the country.
Senator Cruz. Coming up, a last chance for Senator Perry to make a case for his transgender athletes bill in the legislature. We'll tell you what happened after several hours of emotional testimony next on Talking Points.